What's going on, everyone? Talen here, and welcome to another account progression video. Alright, so it is time for another Tier 2 character, and we're going to be getting Songbird to Tier 2 today. So another one of the new Avengers to help in my progress of getting that CTP of Destruction, and also she's a pretty fun character to play because she can keep opponents locked up pretty much the entire fight, but it's usually only if you have one or two enemies at most. One enemy, of course, is preferred. Two can be a little difficult. You got to get them together and make sure you position them. But anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at Songbird here before we Tier 2 her. So let's see here for her skills. We have her third skill leveled up for that guard against 8 hits for 8 seconds. So nice premium guard there. We have that one leveled up just because, and this one I guess just because as well. I might have needed a more damage output for her at one point early on when I was playing her, so that's probably why I leveled up those skills, but they definitely don't need to be leveled up. They have no extra effects or anything like that, so it looks like only the third skill. But her first and second skill are the ones here that's really going to help keep enemies locked down. Of course, it only works on regular enemies, can't be used on world boss because you do rely on the stun and then also the bind here. And then for the isolate set, we have Hawkeye on her, one of the first sets that I rolled, and it looks like I was working on her at one point because we have two fully awakened chaotic ices on her. Again, I don't know how this is happening. This is the second new Avenger. If you saw my Wiccan video, he had an fully awakened chaotic on him as well, so maybe at the point when these characters were released, I just had a ton of chaotic ISOs laying around, or I really don't know why I have those ISOs on them. But anyway, the rest of the set is actually starting to get there. We've got some 5-star, we've got a 6-star, so I was working on her at one point. And then the custom gear, we have a ignore dodge and a invincibility, so looking very, very similar to my Wiccan. Yeah, again, that was just for survivability because she didn't have any kind of insane DPS, and yeah, so I was just going with defensive build here. The ignore dodge, really nice because she's one of the few characters that you can actually spam her just normal attacks, attack string, normal attack, whatever you want to call it, and it's actually useful for like shadowland or stuff like that, and then dodge for some more survivability. So yeah, let's go ahead and get around to the Tier 2ing here. So we have the Sonic Pitch. So let's go ahead and see what that gives us. It's going to increase our skill damage by 25%, our bonus damage by only 10%, that's really low, and then increase the snare duration by 1 second. So that'll help to keep the enemies locked down even longer. I think she can already keep them locked down pretty much indefinitely, so I don't think that's really going to be a big game changer for her. But anyway, let's go ahead and advance her to Tier 2. Boom, alright, there we go. So Songbird to Tier 2. So I think that leaves 2 or 3 new Avengers left before I can get all of them to Tier 2. We got acoustic telekinesis or some sort, acoustinesis. That's a really weird word. But anyway, here I'll go ahead and show her details. Again, a pretty average build here. Oh, she's got a lot of ignore dodge. She must have a little bit of native ignore dodge as well. Ignore defense is pretty low. Crit rate is about average. Crit damage is low. Skill cooldown is maxed out. So anyway, now that she is freshly Tier 2, let's go ahead and try her out a little bit and get into some gameplay. Alright, so here we are to Shadowland Floor 8. We're going to be taking on the Thor stage here, and just wanted to do any stage that wasn't a rumble stage, just because she does struggle at trying to keep 3 enemies kind of tied up the entire time. She can do it, but it is more difficult because you need to do some more positioning and yeah, just get them all in a line, that kind of thing. So 2 should be okay, and we're going to just be taking her in by herself, of course, to see how she can do, and her own leadership was just a all-speed boost, so just increase her attack speed a little bit. So we're going to start off by getting our shield up here, and now we want to try to get both of them. There we go. And now we pretty much just spam our normal attack and then just alternate between the first and second skill. And Groot is not moving. Why are you not moving, Groot? I can't push him. Normally the first skill actually pushes the enemy. But anyway, there we go. And then I use the 4th skill in there for extra damage because the 4th skill does do a good amount of damage. Looks like Jane Foster wants to be a little annoying here. Alright. and they dodged it. So that's also another reason why you want to have some ignore dodge on her. If they dodge her first or her second skill, then pretty much you're out of luck in trying to keep them tied up the entire fight. But now that we've got them locked down, we should be okay. And the fourth skill is, oh, she must have dodged that. The fourth skill is pretty nice because it bounces around between them as well. So it can lock them down just for the amount of hits. Her fifth skill you don't usually use too often. It does have some like lingering damage, so if you use it here, you can, you know, use it in between when they're bound up if you want to just get that extra kind of damage there, that residual damage. But again, nothing too crazy. So, like I said, she's a fun Shadowland character, but she doesn't have really much use in like World Boss or anything like that. So she relies on being able to snare the opponent and bind the opponent, or snare and stun the opponent. She can be quite annoying to deal with in PvP because she can lock down the enemy team quite well. If you know, on Conquest she alternates between her first and her second skill, then yeah, if the enemy doesn't have a debuff leadership or have like snare immunity or stun immunity or one of those two, she can be quite annoying to deal with. But besides that, that's pretty much her main uses. Again, I'm just tier 2ing her to get towards that CTP of destruction, but she is a strong character, good for the early stages of Shadowland. She can solo most of the floors that she can do damage in. Again, she just struggles with the rumbles pretty much because that extra character on the screen does make it quite difficult, but again, she has that guard, which is nice. The fourth skill, which will bounce around between all three characters, so you can kind of guard break them a little bit with that. So she does have the tools, but it's just a little harder to keep her alive. But anyway, that's going to be it for my thoughts on Songbird here. I hope you guys enjoyed, and of course I will catch you in the next one.